Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 3 in our series of video interoperability. This is, again, part 3 of a 3-part series. Hopefully, you've had an opportunity to watch the other 2 parts. My name is Jose Mateo, and I am a Microsoft Unified Communications Architect here at Polycom, and I'm joined by Takeshi Ishimaru, who is our Senior Product Marketing Manager. We're in a meeting right now, just basically to show you guys how the video interoperability solution works in Office 365. So you heard in our previous sessions, you heard Laura and Adam and Takeshi speak to you about Polycom RealConnect, the why and the what, sort of. And so today we're going to do a demo. So you guys can actually see the service in action. So again, what is Polycom RealConnect for Office 365? It's basically a service that's hosted in Azure. I'll talk about that here in a second. It solves the dilemma of basically bringing your Skype for Business users that are hosted 100% in Office 365 with your VTC systems that might not necessarily be registered to Skype for Business, right? So your video teleconference systems that are on-prem that need to speak to your Skype users that are in the cloud, this is the solution for them. So our system is hosted in Azure. So this is kind of a big deal, right, for us from the perspective of not having to have anything from an MCU perspective on your premises. The only thing you would need on your premises, as we mentioned earlier in the earlier series, is some type of gateway to get you off-prem, right? So for us in our environment, you would have the Skype system that sits in the cloud via your Office 365 environment. And then we have put our Polycom environment in that same Azure cloud so that the only thing you need to do as an end user is just send invitations out and then hopefully have people join in a fully hosted kind of as a service model, if you will. So Takeshi, is there anything you'd like to add on that before we kind of get into and push more into what we have going on?
Sure. So this service is hosted in Azure, but also Polycom is managing this. Polycom monitors the service and supports the customers. So as a customer of this RealConnect service, you don't have to worry about keeping it up to date or keeping it up, and so the service is available to all the end users, right? So this is all done by Polycom. So I think that's important to mention.
Yeah, perfect. So you guys might have seen this in the previous slides. If not, then I'd like to walk you through just kind of briefly what this looks like, because you're going to see this live. So what you have in this environment is the way to make the systems or send the invitations out so that you can have the systems join. At the core of all of this is the simplified workflow, right? We want to make sure that we're streamlining the scheduling process of this so that we don't make it super complex to have people join and or schedule the meeting. So at the core of this is Outlook. You all know, if you're Skype users today, that you have a Skype button that basically says new Skype meeting. I'll show you this again in a second. And when you click on that new Skype meeting, that Skype invitation is generated by the Skype server and then, or by the Exchange environment, and then the invitation is then sent out to whatever participants you want. Then you send that out to the folks that are getting it. For those that are VTC systems, they would have a very simplified join experience, whether that be if they're off your network, whether that be through a kind of a dial into this IVR, if you will, and then enter a conference ID, or if you're on-prem and you decide to integrate this more with like a one-touch dial application, or even from that perspective, you can do that for a little bit of configuration there. But at the core of this is simplified scheduling, simplified joining, and then we want to make sure that the layouts are consistent on either side. So on the Skype for Business side, they're going to get the familiar view that you would get there in the gallery mode, or whether you be gallery and then the panoramic view on the bottom if you're in with some type of roundtable camera and or a traditional VTC system like a telepresence system. And then on the standards-based side, you're going to get the familiar kind of the Hollywood Squares view or the continuous presence view that we talk about. So I will show you guys all of this here in 1 second. Again, the experience is such that the collaboration experience is hosted by the AVMCU, so users will always be getting what they're used to. So anyway, let's get right into this. So I'll share my Outlook client with you guys so you guys can kind of see what this looks like. Let me get my system over here on this side on the correct screen. So what you'll see here at first is basically going through what we were talking about. So if I want to send an invitation out as a Skype client, basically all I do is I click New Skype Meeting. Now, when I click on this, because I am enabled for this service, the system is going to go out there, it's going to check, and it's going to say, hey, do I have the license for cloud video interoperability? And in this case, I do. So you'll notice that I'll get the familiar join the Skype meeting. I can join it for my client, but I can also get this system here that says, or this message down here that says, join from a conferencing device. In this case, I can dial this. Or if I have the click to join capabilities, one-touch dial capabilities on premises, then I can get kind of a speed dial into this, if you will. I've already created one of these meetings that I have some colleagues ready to join, so I'll go ahead and close that out. I'll have my colleagues join here in 1 second. So I'll go to my calendar. And in my calendar, let me pull up the right calendar here because I have a bunch of calendars. So here's the meeting I've got. It is hang on 1 sec. Yeah, there it is, RealConnect demo meeting. And so as soon as this, my calendar comes up, what you'll see is I have the link to get into the actual meeting, the same one that all of my my other users have. So let me get my other users teed up to join here. So here's my call, right? So I'm going to join this Skype meeting as I would just any normal Skype call. So here it is. It's popped up. Notice that all I've done is I've invited Takeshi and Nicole and Dave and some endpoints and other systems. So I'm going to click to join here and get off and running into this meeting. My Skype client is going to join, and so it's joined here on my left screen. I've already got another participant, another colleague into this meeting. So once you see Alex turn on his video there, hey Alex, how are you? So I'm going to start my video here. I'm on a different camera here on my desktop. And then I'm going to have one of my colleagues that's joining, that's in a conference room in our Herndon office. He's actually going to join this as well. He's the gentleman that's joining from the group series. Takeshi, if you would, can you go ahead and join this meeting from your Skype for Business client as well?
Sure.
And Nicole, if you would like to, you can, if you want to drop from this and join Premier Skype for Business client as well, or if you want to hang out with us, you can. So while everybody's joining, just a few things that you're going to notice. So basically, all of the idea behind all of this is that all of the experience is native to me as an end user. I don't really know that I'm not in a meeting with just other, Skype participants. You see here that I've got, these rooms joining. I've got Takeshi joining from his client. There you notice a conference room on the other side in the Herndon office. He just joined. This is 100% hosted. I can make him a presenter if I wanted to. Now Takeshi has joined. So you see Takeshi joined from his Skype for Business client. So I have Alex joined from Skype for Business. I've got Takeshi joined from Skype for Business, and I've got this video teleconference system that Dave is joined to from his VTC system that's there in the conference room in Herndon. So Takeshi, from your desktop, why don't you go ahead and share so that you can kind of show just the regular Skype for Business sharing experience. The important thing here is that the sharing is native, right? So the Skype for Business participants are going to be able to share with me, and the video teleconference systems, the VTCs, they're going to be able to see the content on their side. And then what I'm going to ask after Takeshi is done sharing, I'm also going to ask Dave to share from his environment as well. So I'm the active speaker in this environment. I can take this up to gallery mode, so you guys can see that, right? I can still put it in gallery view here so that you see the speakers on the top, and the content is in the mode that we expected to receive it. So Takeshi, would you stop sharing content now, and then Dave over in Herndon, if you don't mind, would you go ahead and just share your screen with us as well? So Dave is just going to join via our native sharing capabilities on his group series endpoint there. And so notice that Dave is now sharing from his screen. And Dave, can you kind of share a little bit about the way you're sharing this content?
Yeah, absolutely, Jose. So I'm actually sharing wirelessly using an application called People Plus Content. It's a tool that Polycom we can use to share content from our computers directly into the video system.
But if you had an HDMI cable, could you share that way as well, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. I could have plugged in at the head of the table and used HDMI or VGA types of connections.
Okay, perfect. But the idea here is that Dave is connected to this call. We can see Dave's video, and then we can also see Dave's content there, just the way we were able to see Takeshi's content and earlier. So, Alex, are you good? Are you seeing all this as well?
Yeah, it's a great experience from over here.
All right, awesome. So thanks, guys, for joining that part. I'll go ahead. I know you're busy there in Herndon, so thank you so much for joining there. Takeshi, me and you can come back over to our meeting. So hopefully what you saw there at the core of this was the simplicity in the join experience, right? So what's actually happening from an architecture standpoint is the internal clients are all registered to the Skype for Business online server that's out there in the Office 365 environment. The external Skype for Business clients are connected there. And then Dave was just an internal video system there connected through our media relay out, if you will, our media traversal system on-prem into the Polycom core that's hosted in Azure, and then we sent Dave over here. So we're taking care of all the signaling, we're taking care of all the video transcoding, and we're also taking care of all the content transcoding. We could have done this not only with our own Polycom people, but any other environment that might have a 323 or a SIP system that's either on premises or even hosted out in the cloud. Or in some other environment, business to business. Takeshi, before I wrap up, is there anything that I missed?
No. So in the previous video series, we talked about ease of management from an administrator's point of view. So if you haven't watched the previous series, I highly recommend that you watch that as well. And there we talk about how easy it is for administrator to get started and to manage the licenses for the users. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining. And if you have any questions, please contact us at teammicrosoft@polycom.com.